Thank you for giving me the floor. Good morning again, distinguished colleagues. Let me present you my dwellings on this very interesting and complicated topic: family, community, and school, thinking and acting for the interests of the children. Within the 2 years that have passed our previous conference, we understood that our important ability is to work together, unite, and uh, investing our thinking into that is very important for education. Our conference is important for elucidating the topics that are concerning the entire educational community, and we would like to find solutions to those issues. We would like to pilot today the major ideas in education, the role of technology and human connections that are holding us together. The dawn of a new era when the entire education system uses IT technology for communicating, teaching and learning. The school is where the community members are equally participating in the school life and they're influencing the educational process together. This concept means that people may personally impact the social development by supporting school, being partners, being active citizens in public, state organizations, business, and family. People take responsibility for the development of our children, realizing that a school is not a single key structure in education. The pandemic has shown that some factors may emerge that may delay our plans. According to UNESCO, COVID-19 crisis led to the largest educational system failure in history, affecting about 1.5 billion students that had to leave school. But now we know that even such a negative factor as COVID-19 made the system of education evolve further, taking a new track. So whatever challenge we're facing, it is an opportunity for us to improve ourselves. I would like to tell you about the research conducted by the members of California University. They have analyzed a number of findings to show how the schools may best support the development of school students. The whole child approach is not only desired, it is mandatory for the children to achieve better. The brain develops through supportive relationships that are permanent, responsive communications, and modeling of productive behaviors. The brain's capabilities develop most when the children feel emotionally and physically safe, when they feel connected, when they're engaged, when they're challenged. As a result, researchers from the University of California have distinguished 4 basic components of school success that enable students to be cared for and to develop their potential and capacities. That would be positive school environment, productive instructional strategies, social and emotional development, and individualized support, personalized support for children. Let's reflect how we can use that to develop our kids holistically based on those components altogether: family, school, and community. So the first component is the supportive environment that fosters strong relationships among educators, students, and their families. In order to study at school, students need to feel safe. They must feel belonging to the school community. The children must enjoy going to school, being in the comfort environment where it's interesting for them to study. Some elements that contribute to the development of the school environment when the students stay with the same teachers for more than 1 year. Another component is the consultative classes that allow educators be in constant contact with the children and the family. The environment that fosters cultural competences, showing everybody that they're valued, that they are respected. Home visits, regular meetings between parents, teachers, and students to strengthen the bond between school and home, which is, in principle, quite familiar to Kazakhstani practice. It's just that we need to practice it routinely every day. Many other practices may help create a sense of security and safety and belonging to the environment. For instance, at NIS, we have the following practice expedition to about to the motherland. It is an expedition that is called by one of our students NIS Roots of Motherland. Listen to those words. The world is open and anybody may contribute to the shaping of the favorable environment. This environment is now in place in intellectual.
Инвестиции на улучшение школьной инфраструктуры восприятия сетей, а рядом бизнес-ключу. Сделали широкое мониторинговое исследование потребностей.
There has been a wide monitoring research among our rural schools, a lot of methodological events for the educators within the project that has been launched back in 2020. It has a great continuation today to create a caring environment to support the school climate, and emotional morale is one of the important tasks of the school. The school infrastructure is a part of the so-called hidden curriculum. Students may grow a controversial opinion about the school if the curriculum everywhere highlights the value of every kid, while the students attend dilapidated, poorly funded schools without access to the necessary resources. Even with the best teaching and support techniques, it would be hard for teachers to explain to students that they are valued because the real situation that they are facing at school is on the contrary. It may affect the student's ability to be optimistic, to be self-confident. And this is where we need the assistance on the part of the government, society, and business as in the form of endowment, funding, and so on. Nazarbayev intellectual schools have a department running, Department of Student Wellbeing, that coordinates the activities related to the improvement of the mental and physical health of children. They are implementing a variety of programs. One of the programs that we're implementing with WHO is the Special Initiative for Mental Health. We work with UNICEF on reproductive health program and early dropout prevention program and a strong family bond. This program has been successfully implemented at over 35 schools across the globe to create a safe and adolescent-friendly environment, prevent risky antisocial behavior, and respect family values. Over 240 families from all intellectual schools are involved in the project. This is one of the ways of cooperation and collective contribution to the well-being of children on the part of public associations or NGOs and families. So, a safe and favorable environment at school. It's often marked by such a phenomenon as bullying. We face bullying in our today's environment. Bullying increases the risks of school trauma. Low-income children are more likely to be the victims of bullying, as the research says. And the socially advantaged students may suffer at school too, if they're studying with disadvantaged students. And this kind of mental climate has an adverse impact on many children. School bullying has been considered a long time a tool to kind of toughen a teenager, so that the victim becomes stronger. But researchers in the recent decades have shown that bullying is absolutely devastating for everyone: victims, witnesses, aggressors. Some experience severe psychological trauma, risk of depression, suicide, self esteem, difficulties in communications. Bullying can be blocked by intolerance to it. It is well known that if the teacher speaks to children in class and condemns that, the problem attenuates or disappears completely. In countries where bullying prevention programs have been introduced, adolescent aggression is declining. Creating psychological comfort at school for every child is the collective responsibility of the entire personnel, starting from the security, receptionists, cleaners, cooks, and school leaders and faculty. The second component of the study includes productive strategies that develop students' ability to manage their own learning. Modern teaching methods, unlike traditional ones, have many advantages. They are most interactive and maintain a holistic perception of students. Education International report emphasizes the role of technology in education, and the principle pedagogy first is in demand today more than ever. Professor Neil Selwyn at Monash University, Australia, is the strong advocate of pedagogy first. When a teacher thinks about using any technology in a school context, the first question we must ask ourselves is, what do we want to achieve in the class? And this is the first step of pedagogy, where technology and devices are in secondary roles. You know that at NIS schools, we have our proprietary program, NIS program, and that program allowed us for retaining the quality of education under the distance learning environment. It has been confirmed by the monitoring that we have conducted several times throughout the period of distance learning. Definitely, there have been certain losses due to the lack of communications among parents, teachers, and students, but this is something that we need to work thoroughly on today. One of the most important features of modern teaching methods is that they are student-centered. Sujata Mehta, the founder of EduVoice India, to develop the Indian education systems, consider student-centered approach is the hallmark of the current teaching strategies. The educators must find personalized ways that fit the students best. At Nazarbayev Intellectual Schools, we are developing the strategies of personal learning. We are working on implementing adaptive learning. Today, we are working with the experts from Arizona State University, and starting January 2022, we're planning a pilot project of adaptive learning from Alex and Co books, the books on chemistry, biology, and physics, for 600 of our students in the pilot at 15 intellectual schools. The next issue I would like to address is the resource-based learning, which is an indispensable attribute of modern effective teaching strategies.
The list of instruments is diverse, and any teacher in any conditions can find optimal resources which he or she can use during the classes. Moreover, most of them are free of charge and available. And there is a good resource such as an online Mektep NIS Play, Coursera, and Han Academy. And just recently, the New Kazakhstani product and New Kazakhstani platform of e-books, Topic KZ, has appeared on the market. The list, well, children at the same time can be the creators of learning resources. For example, our students actively work with Wikipedia and they come up with different articles about Kazakhstan and they write articles in the Kazakh language on the Wikipedia website. Thus, the resources about Kazakhstan increase. Modern strategies imply intensive and friendly interaction between children as peer to peer cooperation. And the students learn how to collaborate and appreciate the work of their classmates through different learning activities. It is also important that children are not segregated during these activities and the way they communicate do not depend on their grades. The teacher creates an environment in which children feel no fear because of any bias or ranking. And this cooperation has been practiced in Nazarbayev intellectual schools during the teacher training, or this is what we call the peer-to-peer approach, when one teacher trains another teacher and they together create resources. Going back to the study at the University of California, we start talking about social and emotional development as the third component of school success. This involves habits, skills, and ways of thinking that increase students' competencies in this area. This year, Nazarbayev Intellectual Schools conducted the study in 50 schools across Kazakhstan, which shows that communication and emotion management are the most important skills that influence student academic achievements. Thus, the emotional state when the child is happy, confident, energetic, and joyful is of the greatest importance. I would like to reiterate once again that when the child wants to go to school, that matters a lot. The second place is the family support. When parents are actively involved in school life, making it more comfortable for students to study and helping them address school problems. The top list includes some negative factors as well. Children are strongly influenced by a sense of loneliness, lack of friends at school, and they suffer from being outsiders. To respond to these negative factors, the students should use help from their environment, their fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, close friends, teachers, and of course, school psychologists. And the school, for its part, can use different ways to integrate social and emotional learning daily. Elizabeth Mulhaville, an editor of the American website where the teachers find the following daily actions the most important among others. That's the interpersonal communication between teachers and students that requires a lot of time. That's the regular meetings to make sure that all of the students feel listened to or heard. We know that the Student Voice Project of the European Cooperation Organization actually is designed to listen to the voices of students. And she also suggests that it's always important to reflect at the end of each school day. Of course, the school days can be pretty hectic, but nevertheless, it is important to gather for a couple of minutes in order to reflect on what was right or what didn't work, and maybe to set some goals for next day. Such reflection could help resolve a lot of problems that the students face every day. That's bullying, resentment, or conflicts, or that might be a very interesting initiative on the other hand. The comprehensive approach implies that it is parents who should take supportive and coordinated actions. How does parenting and childcare happen at home? What factors shall be taken into account in order to help a child be prosperous in life? Researchers from the Pennsylvania State University and Duke University monitored the situation of more than 700 children from all over the United States from the toddler's age to 25 years. So this was some long-term research that helped identify significant correlation between the social intelligence in early years and achievements in adulthood. Social projects and practices of intellectual schools have had a great and positive response over the past few years. These are the volunteer activities in orphanages, nursing homes, hospitals, public parks, and etc. The data analysis of 35,000 preschool children in the US, Canada, and England showed that early development of mathematical abilities, and as the STEM school, we know that for sure, this showed that the early development can become a great advantage for children. There are a lot of conversations that show that some people, some children have more of a humanitarian aptitude, which is not true because a basic knowledge in mathematics at kindergarten age, numbers, their sequence, and other basic conflict concepts influence their performance in certain subject area and improve their reading and learning skills overall. Parent of more able children have a higher socioeconomic status according to PISA. In 2018, students from families of low socioeconomic status score about around 35 to 40 points lower on average than their peers from financially stable families. However, if the participants from poor families have their parents emotionally involved in their lives, then according to the University of Minnesota that involved 243 participants from poor families, showed that when parents have good relationships with their children, give their care and emotionally participate in their lives in the first 3 years, these children are more likely to show good results in academic tests. So if we look at the results of PISA in terms of socioeconomic status, we'll see insignificant differences between vulnerable and successful students. Moreover, vulnerable children show better results in math. This proves that high quality teaching and school care can reduce these adverse factors. The NIS educational work system builds on the collaboration between parents. We have the most prominent projects in Kazakhstan that are called 2 weeks in the village or 10 days at an enterprise with parents or parent university or the board of trustees. These are the practices that are quite successful when interacting with parents. Every home should be the safest place for a child along with the schools. However, it's not always the case. Violence against children is a major problem, and according to UNICEF, 6 out of 10 children in the world are exposed to domestic violence. This increases the risk that children from such families may themselves use violence against others or become victims. The global experience shows that the effective methods for prevention of violence lead to the change in social norms and to the reduction of violence against children. And when preparing for this report today, we looked at different examples. And it is interesting to note that the program of parent education in Turkey resulted in the reduction of physical violence and abuse against children by 73% over the last 2 years, whereas the family visits in the US helped reduce the level of violent and negligent attitude towards children by 48% in the last 15 years. The law prohibiting the use of corporal punishment of children in Sweden has reduced from 90% to 10% over the 35-year period. In our schools, we also implement programs for the ninth grade students in order to prevent violence and child injury. And this program is implemented together with UNICEF, and this program involves students, parents, and teachers and medical staff at schools. Parenting is a big responsibility that requires a lot of resources, finances, consciousness, and time. Families and communities have much responsibility for the well-being of children. And there is a good proverb that we really like and apply a lot. It takes a village to raise a child. So on this positive note, I would like to conclude my presentation, and I would like to encourage you to take an active part in the dialogue in order to find good and positive solutions for the cooperation between schools, families, and communities. Thank you very much.